Today we're diving into the newest developments surrounding the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict, a war that has continued to reshape political strategies, military tactics, and global relations. Over the past several days, multiple reports have surfaced highlighting an escalation on both sides, bringing new challenges, shifting alliances, and concerns for international security. As always, our goal here is to break down these updates in a clear, balanced, and informative way so viewers can understand not only what is happening right now, but how these events may shape the future of the conflict and the world around it. To begin, recent intelligence suggests that Russia has increased the intensity of its offensive operations in several regions close to the Eastern Front, especially near heavily contested cities. Ukraine's defensive forces have reported more frequent air attacks and artillery bombardments, targeting infrastructure such as power stations, water supply facilities, and transportation networks. The objective appears to be weakening Ukraine's logistical capabilities before winter approaches. Meanwhile, local authorities are warning civilians to brace for additional outages, reinforcing fears that energy shortages could reprise the difficult conditions witnessed in previous cold seasons. This move has drawn criticism from international humanitarian organizations, which argue that critical infrastructure should not be targeted during wartime. At the same time, Ukraine continues to push forward with its own counteroffensive strategies. Reports indicate that Ukrainian forces have launched coordinated drone operations aimed at Russian supply depots and munition storage centers. These strikes have demonstrated the increasing importance of unmanned aerial technology in modern conflict. Several analysts believe Ukraine is attempting to disrupt Russia-Ilg's supply lines deep behind the front to slow down troop reinforcements. While the Ukrainian military has confirmed some tactical gains, it has also acknowledged facing heavy resistance and fortified defensive positions. The situation remains highly fluid, and battlefield conditions can change rapidly with new tactical decisions. International reaction to these escalations has intensified. NATO officials have condemned the recent attacks on civilian infrastructure and reiterated their support for Ukraine's territorial sovereignty. Several European nations are preparing additional aid packages, consisting of defense systems, medical supplies, and financial assistance. The United States has also signaled interest in accelerating the delivery of certain equipment, although there are ongoing political debates within Congress about budget allocations. On the diplomatic front, dialogue remains difficult, with both sides accusing the other of refusing to negotiate in good faith. United Nations representatives continue to call for ceasefire discussions, though progress seems limited. Meanwhile, Russian state media has portrayed these operations as necessary defensive actions, accusing Ukraine and its allies of escalating tensions in the region. Russian officials have emphasized that they are prepared to respond to any threats along their borders. This messaging is clearly aimed at maintaining domestic support for the war and reinforcing the narrative that Russia is defending itself against external aggression. In response, Ukrainian leaders argue that they are fighting to reclaim territory and defend their citizens from invasion. It's a classic information battle, where both sides use media to shape public perception and sustain morale. On the economic front, sanctions continue to impact both sides in different ways. Russia has adapted by forming deeper partnerships with certain countries to maintain trade flows, although economists argue that long-term effects are beginning to show in key sectors. Ukraine's economy also remains strained, dependent on international aid and emergency budget support. Agricultural exports, particularly grain, remain a major topic, especially surrounding shipping routes in contested waters. Disruptions in food supply chains have global consequences, potentially raising prices in regions already vulnerable to inflation and food insecurity. This highlights how the conflict extends far beyond the battlefield. Another element adding complexity is the impact on civilians. Aid organizations report increasing displacement as communities near the front face intensified shelling. Families are relocating to safer urban centers, increasing pressure on local resources such as shelters, healthcare, and education systems. Psychological trauma remains a silent but devastating consequence. Children in affected regions continue to lose access to stable schooling environments, and many adults face unemployment and uncertainty about their future. Volunteers on the ground emphasize the need for mental health support, not just physical aid. The humanitarian crisis is a reminder that wars are not fought only by soldiers, but experienced deeply by ordinary people. Military analysts are closely monitoring how winter conditions will affect operations. Historically, harsh weather can slow troop advancement, strain supply chains, and complicate air support. Both armies are reportedly stockpiling winter gear, fuel reserves, and medical supplies in preparation. Some experts believe this winter may become a turning point, as whichever side adapts better to environmental conditions may gain tactical advantages. Drone technology, for example, can be hindered by freezing temperatures, snow glare, and icy winds. With both sides increasingly dependent on drones, winter may alter the pace of unmanned engagements significantly. As tensions rise, there is growing concern about the potential for miscalculation. When both sides intensify operations simultaneously, the risk of unexpected confrontations increases, especially near contested borders or international waters. Diplomatic channels are still open, but trust between the parties has eroded. Western leaders continue to push for de-escalation, warning that any sudden shift could destabilize neighboring regions. Security experts remain cautiously watchful, emphasizing that even small incidents can trigger chain reactions with unpredictable consequences. In conclusion, the latest escalations in the Ukraine-Russia conflict reflect a complex mixture of military strategy, political messaging, humanitarian struggle, and international diplomacy. The situation remains tense, with both sides preparing for prolonged confrontation. As winter approaches, resources will be tested, alliances will be scrutinized, and the world will continue to watch closely. Citizens everywhere hope for peaceful resolution. But at the moment, negotiations seem distant. For now, staying informed and observing credible sources is crucial. Thank you for tuning in to this detailed update. If you found this explanation informative, make sure to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments and stay safe. We'll keep you updated as more information becomes available.